Good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everybody? I forgot that I have to play my intro music. I almost forgot my music this morning. So let me go ahead and play that. Like we can't miss out on that. So here we go. All right. So we are doing a new week of Show Me the Shift. And so I am Coach Lenora, and I'm excited to be here today. And today we're going to walk through some HR things because for those of you who aren't familiar with me, I have an HR side of me, and then I have the coaching and business and all of that side of me, affiliate marketing, all those fun things. And so based on today, we're going to talk about really focusing on HR and specifically some things that candidates do that are common mistakes that, really HR people would probably want you to know, but just haven't been able to let you know, right? And so, based on that, what I'm going to do is share some of these tips and tricks. And again, as I typically mention, all of these things are also included in my Victorious Movement community. It's an online membership only community. Right now, it's $17 a month. And so, for people who come into that community, not only do you get information in regards to HR, resume tips, interview tips, things of that nature, but also you get information regarding your purpose in regards to mindset. Law of attraction. We talk about different topics every day. Right now, we are writing out affirmations every day. We are focused on our question of the day and a lot of other fun, cool things. So, based on that, we're going to go ahead and get started with some resume tips for you to know and insights for you to ensure that you are putting your best foot forward and helping yourself to kind of stand out amongst the crowd, right? And so, first, we're going to talk about people who use the same resume for every single job they post. Like everything that they do, they just say, you know what, I'm just going to apply to these 50 jobs today. And based on that, I'm just going to submit this same resume to all 50 jobs. And that can be a problem. It looks generic. It looks not focused on what that particular company is looking for. And so, therefore, you want to make sure that you are specializing your resume based on the job description that you read. And I know I had another call about kind of understanding and focusing on the job description and what does that mean? How is it written? What does it look like? Looking at the basic qualifications or those requirements on the job posting. And if it says it needs certain years of experience, ensuring that you have it written out that you have that amount of years, if not more, based on your own personal experience to ensure that the ATS system, bot, quote unquote, or the recruiter knows that, hey, this is the person who can move forward to the next stage of the process, right? So making sure that you have your resume not look generic, look specific to the role can help. And it also speaks to the specific keywords that the ATS system or the recruiter might be actually looking for on your resume. You may not know this, but recruiters rarely spend more than 6 to 10 seconds on a resume looking, scanning, and figuring out if what the requirements of the job are in alignment with what you actually have on your resume. So you might think that they're taking 3, 5 minutes per resume to review. They have hundreds of resumes often that they're going through. They do not have the time to be able to take that extensive amount of time to focus on your resume. So therefore, the clearer you are, the cleaner you are with what you put on your resume, the better. All right. Now, how you can fix this, again, tailor those keywords. In your summary, you can put some of those keywords in there as well. You want to make sure that you highlight at every opportunity possible what they are specifically saying they're looking for in the job description and what it is that you are able to bring to the table. Okay. So that's first and foremost. Don't upload the exact same resume to every single job. Number two, focus on the job duties instead of the achievements, right? And so if it says, for example, or let's say you put on your resume, for example, all the responsibilities, like I'm responsible for this, I'm responsible for that. This is what I've done. That is what I've done. Instead, what are the metrics behind that? What is the impact of what it is that you did? So instead of saying I was responsible for decreasing the amount of headcount for X, Y, and Z, okay, by what percentage? By how many headcount? Like what is it that you did? If you increased the number of sales or the ROI on something, then how did you do that in regards to the numbers, the specifics, the metrics? Those are the things that really stand out when recruiters and hiring leaders can see numbers on a resume that speak to the impact that you have made in your role. That is critical. So definitely just don't speak in theory. You have to toot your own horn. So don't feel like I don't want to put anything and be too braggy. Your resume is the place to be braggy, right? So make sure that you spell it out very clearly. And if there are metrics and numbers and percentages and dollar amounts of, oh, I saved the company $250,000 by implementing this, then those are the places and where you need to put that information. That is going to be critical and key. Okay. So make sure you focus on the impact and not on necessarily the duty, right? It's the impact, not the duty. All right. Then we're going to talk about making it too long or too short. That's something that a lot of people have problems with, right? Is understanding, well, how long or how short should the resume be? So if you have, let's say, you are, 5 years into your experience, then there is no reason for you to have a 2-page resume. There's literally no reason to have a 2-page resume if you only have 5 years of experience. You're probably trying to oversell yourself because you feel as though you have limited amount of experience. So you're just you're throwing spaghetti at the wall and you're saying, hey, I'm just putting everything that I've touched, everything that I've done. If I, touched it for a day, then I'm trying to put that information on my resume. That should not be the case, right? And but at the same time, if you have, let's say, the 20 years of experience and all of it is relevant to the job that you're applying to, then yeah, absolutely, you could have a 2-page resume, right? You have more than enough experience that would warrant you spelling out exactly where you've been and what you've done. Sometimes if people job hop a lot, it can look like you would have a 2-page resume, but that may not be a good thing because the company will also see that job hopping, and that could be a red flag to them that, well, how long would they stay here? If I hire them and they stayed at every job no more than a year and a half, 2 years, then what would that look like for them to come and work with me? Now, there are some people who do contractor roles. And in those instances, what I would say is put the name of the contract company as being the company you worked with. And for how long did you work with that company, as opposed to the individual jobs that you had with that company. You can spell that out later, like within the resume, but the years of experience you have should really be focused on how long were you with that company. And then therefore, it's like, oh, I was with this company for 5 years, but within that 5 years, I worked at this company, these are the placements that company put me at during the 5 years that I worked there. So that's kind of a exception to the rule of it not looking like job hopping, because you truly were at one organization, the agency that was placing you, but you were working at different organizations throughout that process, right? So I would say the fix, or the typical amount of pages a resume should have, is if you have 0 to 10 years of experience, it should be 1 page. It should truly be 1 page. And if you've had over 10 years of experience, but it's all with the same corporation, like you just have always been at this one company, then that can be 1 page as well. But once you get over 10 years, if you're spilling over into a second page of your resume, totally understandable, totally acceptable. And I would say you don't have to sweat the small stuff in regards to that if your resume does happen to spill over into 2 pages. I know a lot of people say, well, your resume should only be 1 page. It's not realistic depending on how many years of experience you've had and how many jobs that you have had. So that is a good kind of fix there. All right. And then I think this will be the last one, but using passive or weak language on your resume. So please, whatever you do, don't say, helped with, assisted with, participated in, those types of things on your resume if you're truly trying to sell yourself and your skills. Meaning, if you assisted in, then you weren't the one in control. You weren't the one that was leading. You weren't the one that maybe made the biggest decisions and, did the leadership role and had the biggest impact. So therefore, figure out how you can explain the situation truthfully, but explain the situation highlighting what you achieved while you were working on that project, while you were focused on that, that team and what that team situation or project was. Like, don't put it as though, all of the eggs were in somebody else's basket and I was just there kind of handing them the eggs. But instead, like, okay, what were you able to do? How were you able to contribute? And what achievements did you have that kind of were able to push this project forward, make maybe some of those metrics that we talked about earlier come to pass, and really help and develop whatever the initiative is that really helped and supported the company, right? And so it says that one of the things that I put as a fix, because excuse me, again, this is something that's coming from my Victorious Movement community, is that I said, start bullets with strong action verbs like led, increased, managed, delivered, designed. If you have problems coming up with those starter verb words for your resume, go to ChatGPT and just say to ChatGPT, hey, here is the sentence that I have on my resume. Can you please, change this around to an action statement or an action phrase, and see what it comes up with. And it can help you to, again, truthfully state what it is that you did. And what it will sometimes do is kick out information, but then you can take that and say, oh, well, it kicked it out and it was slightly off from what it was that I would have said. So let me go ahead. I like what it said, but it's not exactly truthful. So let me go ahead and morph this into what is truthful for me. Okay, so those are the 4 things that we'll talk about today. The 4 things that you can do going forward that will stop you from having these resume mistakes as you present your resume and try to put your best foot forward, because the competition is out here. The competition is fierce. And I just feel like with the years of experience that I've had in talent acquisition, specifically over 25 years, I want to make sure that I'm setting everybody up for success and giving you some kind of insider tips that a lot of people unfortunately can't tell you, because then it's kind of a conflict of interest. They're giving you information while they're also trying to hire people for these roles, right? And so based on me now being an entrepreneur, I want to be able to give you all as much information as possible to help you and shift you. Get it? Shift, show you the shift, but shift you from where you are to where you want to be in regards to your career aspirations. So on that note, I am going to go through and play our wonderful commercial for the Victorious Movement. And I do want you all to just kind of get a little bit more understanding of that. A lot of these tips and tricks are going to be within that community. It is, again, near and dear to my heart. So it's always my shameless plug whenever I actually go through and have a podcast here live on the internet streams, right? All right, so let's go ahead. I'm going to see if you all can hear this or if I'll need to say it myself in the future, but I'm just going to press play because I made it as like its own little commercial. Here we go. Are you one of the few in your circle who knows that you were meant for more? Are you tired of going it alone, feeling stuck, lost, or like no one really gets your big dreams? Well, you don't have to feel that way anymore. In the Victorious Movement, you'll find people just like you. Dreamers, doers, and go-getters who cheer each other on, share ideas, and celebrate wins together. Sometimes in life, you have big dreams, but you feel stuck, lost, and alone. And in the Victorious Movement community, you will find people who listen, who believe in you, and who support your goals and hold you accountable to your results. We believe in you, so let us remind you of how powerful you really are. Love it, love it, love it. So that is the Victorious Movement commercial. I think I might actually come up with a cool little like banner that I can put up at that time to kind of say that that is what we're doing. We're focused on a commercial break. I think I'm going to work on that right now in Canva. So anyway, I hope everybody has an amazing Monday. Take care of yourself and each other. And remember, show me the shift. in what you have done and who you are becoming. Take care, everybody. Bye.